Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Games match preview of Aston Villa against West Ham United. Match day 4 in the Premier League for two managers coming under a bit of criticism from their own fan bases over the last week. Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on our opponents, please?
Yeah, Aston Villa are a funny club, but obviously a big club, traditionally a very, very big club. It's quite interesting because the last two seasons they've moved very early in the transfer window. And clearly we take a bit of time, It's a little bit tortoise and hare, really. And then everyone sort of lauds them as the way to do business. And last year it was, they got Ings in and Ings was going to do this, that and the other. And they've gone and done the same this year. And I think they get their business done early. But I thought they had a poor season last season. But from their expectations, actually, they were probably about where they should have been. Coutinho came in, if you remember, halfway through the season as well, and he hit the ground running. He really did. I think everybody expected Villa to do a lot more than they did last season. Obviously, they've changed the manager. They've got Steven Gerrard in there now, who you know far more about what goes on in Scottish football than I do, but I would suggest maybe his impact at Rangers wasn't as great as perhaps it should have been, and maybe that has been emphasised by what's his name, Ben Bronckhorst, isn't it? By what Ben Bronckhorst has done since he took over there, certainly by reaching the Europa League final last season, and obviously getting through to the Champions League proper this season. So there's a little bit of unrest, I think, with the fans, but you can't keep changing your manager all the time. Well, I guess you can. Watford do it, but can you do it successfully? I don't know. I've never been completely sold on Steven Gerrard as a manager. I know you know quite a lot about him and about him losing his number 2 to QPR, which I'm sure you can speak a little bit more about. But I think they've got quite a tough season ahead, actually.
Definitely a squad with a lot of talent, and we're just not seeing the best of it, really. I've been suspicious of Gerrard, I think. While he done well with Rangers to win the league, but that's it. He did well. He wasn't even the best manager in Scotland that year because he didn't win the Scottish Cup or the League Cup. St Johnstone won them. I would argue St Johnstone had a better season than Rangers did when Gerrard won the league. And I think it was an appointment that suited Gerrard more than it suited Aston Villa. Now, I could understand where Villa were coming from in appointing him because there was a risk element, but had they got it right, if Gerrard was the next best thing as a manager, then they were laughing, really. They'd have this young manager on a big contract. They were going to see good football, so on and so forth. That is, if it worked out. But so far, I mean, the jury's probably still out a little bit, but it's certainly not going as well as I think the hierarchy of Aston Villa would have expected. And the problems that Dean Smith had, when you looked at that, you felt, does he know his best team, so on and so forth? You've got the same questions for Gerrard. And this summer, I expected his stamp to be put on that squad there. And he's tried it with a couple of elements. He's done a couple of signings. I expected probably a higher turnover of players in the transfer market for Aston Villa, if I'm honest with you. There was talks about how he wasn't keen on Ollie Watkins and so on and so forth, but yet he's still there. Now, either those reports were rubbish, and it's possible that they were, or there's still a player there that Steven Gerrard isn't particularly keen on. And then he's made this massive call to strip Tyrone Mings of the captaincy and give it to John McGinn, which is a huge thing for a manager to do. And again, I find myself as a neutral questioning the decision. Why did you do that? Is it because you have questions over him as a captain? But what we hear about Mings as a leader is that he's top class and stuff. He comes across really well in the media, what he does off the pitch and stuff. And I just think, well, why has Gerrard done it then? Is it him trying to put his authority in the squad and have his captain? Is it to make it easier to drop Tyrone Mings? Because obviously they invested heavily in Diego Carlos in the summer as well, so he was going to be playing. Is it just easier to drop Mings if he's not the captain? And I found myself questioning the decision, especially then when he gave it to John McGinn, who possibly shouldn't be in Aston Villa's 11 at the minute anyway. So it was just a very strange decision. But pressure on Gerrard, do you think? Is from you as a neutral, is there pressure on Steven Gerrard, or do you think he should be given the season essentially because it is still his first full season. So do you think he deserves time to really get to grips with it all?
Well, I think there's more pressure on him because of his reputation as a player, but I also think he gets afforded more time by the ownership because of his reputation as a player. I think with the Mings thing is that what you've got to worry about, not worry about, it doesn't bother us, but what if you're an Aston Villa fan, you might be concerned about is that may work okay if you work on the assumption that nobody in the squad likes Tyrone Mings. If Tyrone Mings is a popular guy and you do that to him, then you've basically undermined everyone's mate and everyone else's leader. And I don't think that would resonate well within the squad. I know yourself, you've got reservations about Mings's ability as a footballer.
Yeah.
But that is, if you go back and look at all the other previews that we've done Aston Villa recently, I will always praise Mings, and I praise him for his leadership qualities, and not just for what he does behind the scenes. He does speak very well, but I've seen him on the pitch. I'm always impressed when someone on the pitch will have a go at their own players and drag players into position. So should be standing there. I like that. I think that's a really good thing. So I don't know the intricacies of that particular situation, but it would seem like a gamble of a thing to do. And from Gerrard, you don't have to, if he's your captain, guarantee him a place in the starting lineup. Our captain last season was Mark Noble. You just got to be. You can allow him to keep his dignity, keep his leadership presence, as we do with Mark Noble, but then you don't have to play him in the team if there's a better midfielder there. So you can do both things. I think there is pressure on Gerrard, though. I think when you're a brilliant player, and he was one of the best players I've ever seen live. Geo, one of the very best players I've ever seen live, Steven Gerrard. And I think when you've got that, the expectation is that you will be an amazing manager. And the money that Aston Villa have invested, the ownership have clearly got a pound or two. They don't want mediocrity. They've hired Steven Gerrard because they think he has the ability and the capability to be an elite manager. And when he first went in there, I do remember Jurgen Klopp fielding questions about Steven Gerrard being his successor at Liverpool. Those are the expectations that he has. That he's going to go on. He's going to be brilliant at Aston Villa, and he's going to go on and become the next Liverpool manager. I'm not sure it's going to turn out quite like that.
I think it's maybe just a too big a club for Steven Gerrard, because Villa is a huge club, huge fan base. And they demand relative success, whatever that might be, whether it is top 10 in a cup run or something. They demand that as well as good football. And so they should. Like I said, look at their squad. They've got brilliant players. We always finish up when we speak about the oppositions with players you admire, as we will. You could list them off when it comes to Aston Villa. You're going to have to pick 2 or 3 rather than going through half the squad, which you could easily do. They've got a really good squad there for Gerrard to select. I think losing Michael Beale made me even more suspicious of Gerrard this season. Now, a good appointment on the face of it, getting in the Blackpool manager Neil Critchley, but certainly at Rangers, Michael Beale was the one that was sort of lauded for the success of Steven Gerrard at Rangers. And then there's interviews with certain Villa players. I remember seeing one with Emi Martinez, and he was getting asked about training at Aston Villa, and he basically said, "Oh, Michael Beale does everything. It's all Michael Beale." And he left this summer to go try and get a career himself as a manager, and he's gone to QPR, which started out average. I think they're mid-table in Championship, but that's a huge loss. Somebody that Gerrard's had his whole managerial career there by his side, helping him with the tactics, doing the training and stuff. Huge thing to overcome as a manager. And I think that's sort of, if I was a Villa fan, I'd be a bit wary of it. It's a bit like us. We're doing it at the minute with Stuart Pearce at West Ham. We've lost Stuart Pearce. We're thinking about how big a role was he to West Ham's success over the last couple of seasons. Villa will be doing the same. And I think Gerrard actually, when you say pressure from the media, I think actually he is a bit of a media darling. I think he will be given a little bit more time through the judgment of the national press, if you like, whereas it felt like after one game of the season, the daggers were out for Eric Ten Hag already at Old Trafford. Like, there we go, let's go get him, But with Gerrard, I think he'll get a little bit more leeway with the mainstream media in English football, because he is that sort of hero. And, I get it why the hero, but I don't think he gets judged fairly as a manager. I think he gets off with a little bit more than perhaps other managers would. But I do think there's pressure on him. I think he's got to give Villa fans something. And at the minute, he's not doing it. And he's got a worse win. I think he's got a higher loss percentage rate that Tim Sherwood had, which was unbelievable. Sherwood was rank as a manager at Villa Park. I think he's got a better record than what Steven Gerrard does. I read somewhere, now this might not be true, someone might have made it up on social media and it's gone viral and people just assume it's fact, but Gerrard's record as Villa manager is worse than Gary Neville's of Valencia. I mean, that's not good if it's true. So it's not a great time to be Steven Gerrard right now. But before we do the players of Geo Gonzo, this video is sponsored by Spitch. Me and Gonzo have been banging on about it for the last couple of months because we want you guys to get involved and join up to our Hammers Chat League. Last weekend, I beat Gonzo. It's now 1-1. The Geo Gonzo thing is now 1-1. I'm going to show you my team in just a minute. But what is Spitch? Well, it's a fantasy football app which is completely free to download, completely free to join up, and there's lots of free-to-play games as well where you can win real cash. Now, this obviously has a gambling element to it because there's cash prizes up for grabs, and also there's pay-to-play games as well. If you increase your stake, you increase the prize returns you can get. You can download the app via the link in the description. That's 18 plus, and please be gamble aware. Now, Gonzo, would you like to see my 11?
I would like to see your 11. I'll let you go early, then I can react to your 11 and do my 11 tomorrow.
Here is my team for the weekend. I've gone with Lucas Fabianski in goal. I've got a back three of Kevin Trippier, a Tottenham player whose name hasn't appeared on the screen there. I think it might be Emerson. It's Emerson Royale. That's who my Tottenham defender is. And I've also got Aaron Hickey from Brentford in 2. My midfield 4, I've got Kulusevski, as well as James Maddison, Thomas Soucek, and Andreas Pereira of Fulham. And I've got a front 3 of Ivan Toney, who's got the captain's armband, Jadon Sancho after that performance against Liverpool, and Gabriel Jesus because he is just in electric form. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking you've gone a bit sneaky with that unnamed Tottenham defender. I'm thinking that you've obviously fancying a West Ham win against Aston Villa, which is quite pertinent to this video. And I'm gonna have to work very hard to beat that team, Gio. But I'm gonna show you my counter tactics tomorrow.
As you can see, I start with plus 193 points. Why is that? Because on Spitch you can go over budget or under budget. I've gone under budget by 193 euros, which means I start with 193 points. Likewise, you go over, you start on minus points. It's a very flexible fantasy football app. We get it downloaded. Link is in the description below. And Gonzo, final question on Aston Villa. Players you admire. As you can tell, I don't have many. None of them are in my Spitch team.
No, you don't. That's true. Literally, the proof of the pudding's in the tasting on that one, isn't it? I like Buendia. I was
You do love Buendia.
I really do. I really do. I like that sort of player. And I think when it appeared at a point, I know he's played this season, but last season it appeared that Gerrard was, I think he put Ramsey in the team, Coutinho came in, and it looked like he wasn't going to overly involve Buendia. And I was rather hopeful that he might be out of favour and we might sign him, but it looks like that's not the case. Well, and we won't sign him. But I do like him. I think he's a good player. Ramsey, I hope he continues to progress. I mean, he really burst onto the scene, in particular last season, I felt. So I'm hoping he pushes on for that because I think there's a position, internationally for him there, certainly. I like Matty Cash, very good. And I always liked Bailey, actually, although he's not remotely touched his potential at Aston Villa yet. They really do have a lot of talent there. And I think they've offloaded Traore now, as I understand it. And I think, who was another talented player. So I think they're really sort of counting on Bailey coming good now. So they've put their faith in him, certainly. And obviously, well, I know you like both strikers, but yeah, Ollie Watkins. I could say the same about Buendia. I know you were hopeful that maybe he might be out of favour at Aston Villa and we might sign him, but it looks like he's in, both of them are part of Gerrard's plans. But yeah, they got some, and the goalkeeper. But lots of good players at Aston Villa.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez is one of my favourite goalkeepers in the Premier League. I do like his behaviour traits as well when he concedes a penalty and he gives it big to the striker and whatnot. I like that. I think stuff like that in football needs to be praised and almost encouraged a little bit more because the game could get very stale very quickly. Otherwise, if it gets a bit robotic. So when you see somebody like Martinez who just bursts with character a little bit, I cling to it maybe a bit too much. But I do think he's a top goalkeeper. as well. As Gonzo's mentioned, and any long-term viewers of Hammers Chat under, I love Danny Ings. I mean, not quite the player he was a few seasons ago, but he's still a finisher. And Ollie Watkins is somebody that I think would have been perfect for West Ham and perfect for David Moyes as well. And Bailey has had a really good pre-season for Villa. Sort of been in the team and out the team so far this season. I know we're only 4 games in, including their League Cup victory midweek, but got the goal against Bolton on Tuesday night, hit the bar against Crystal Palace last week, got the assist as well. So I'm expecting a big season from him. But Jacob Ramsey certainly is one of the players that I think he's an unbelievable talent. Even at the age he is, he's probably Villa's most threatening player for us in open play going into Sunday's game. And be interesting to see how far he can go, actually. He's certainly a player with everything at his feet, and it's up to him what he wants to achieve, really. But like you said, international football is calling for him, but he needs to be consistent, continue that high level of performance that he's produced so far at Villa Park. And he's keeping some big players out the team, at Aston Villa. They've obviously got Douglas Luiz, and they've obviously signed Kamara for that defensive midfield role as well. John McGinn's in there. So there's big personalities, big characters. But yeah, Ramsey's holding his own in there. Coutinho's been benched recently. So anyway, enough about Villa. We'll discuss West Ham.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Big game. Big game for both clubs, Gio.
We're going to start with a bit of team news first. Obviously, Declan Rice is available. He was suspended for Thursday night's game over in Denmark, but he's fit and fighting for Sunday. Vladimir Coufal is technically available for selection. Obviously, he departed with concussion against Brighton. There's a 6-day rule in Premier League football, so he is eligible for the game on Sunday. However, his training has been interrupted at best, if you like, this week. They've got a 6-day protocol. So day 1 afterwards, so on the Monday, he wasn't able to do anything. Day 2, it's light training and stuff. So his training would have been a bit different this week for West Ham for Coufal. And of course, Emerson is available for selection as well. We signed him last week from Chelsea, but he can now play against Aston Villa on Sunday, should we wish. Okay, Dawson is still edging closer to a return, but yet unavailable for this game. But apart from that, it's pretty much as you were, Gonzo. So Thursday night, we played a back 3 successfully. We cruised to a 3-0 victory. What are you thinking for this one? What would you like to see? Back 3 or back 4?
I think back 4, really. I don't, because otherwise Cresswell gets chucked in at left centre-back, and I don't. I like it, actually, from an attacking point of view. I like the license he has to move forward, but from a defensive point of view, I absolutely hate it. So, I'd like to try and keep the shape. Ideally, if you're playing 3 centre-backs, you want 3 centre-backs. I'm not even sure we've got 2 centre-backs at the moment. So, for that reason, I keep the back 4.
I can see the arguments for back 3, especially if Villa do play 2 up front with Ings and Watkins. I think a 2v2 sort of battle there. We play a back 4, that is. Makes me nervous. We historically struggle against that kind of team when we play them. Like look at the likes of Brentford, Nottingham Forest did it to us as well. They played 2 up front and we struggled with them in the first half, I felt. So I think I can see the argument, but I also would like to see a back 4 for this one because, well, we need to bloody win. I think the more attacking players we can get on the pitch, the better. And balance is going to be difficult for this one. But in terms of personnel, give me your goalkeeper as well as your back 4, please.
I'll play Fabianski in this one, as I don't think he's done anything wrong. The right back, I'd need to know, and I'm not going to know, so I'm going to have to guess here, but I'd need to know how concussed Coufal is. Now, I'm not. I've seen loads of examples in rugby, and I know they're different collisions, but I've seen loads of players who in rugby you have to take more of a period of rest than you do in football. But before that rule came into place, I've seen a lot of players come back in rugby from a concussion, and they're not fit, they're not ready. They're so it depends how foggy I think Coufal is. If he's fine, if he's fit, I'd play Coufal at right back. Centre back is tough, I've got to say.
Before you move on, I disagree with that. I would play Ben Johnson regardless of Vladimir Coufal's.
It's tight.
I think Coufal's been poor this season. I think Johnson was fantastic against Viborg.
Yes.
I am still remembering it was only Viborg, but I feel going into that game, right back was up for grabs on Sunday, and Ben Johnson put in a fantastic performance, and I think he should be rewarded with that. I think Coufal has been bad against Brighton, against Man City, and against Forest. He's been very poor for me this season. So Ben Johnson at right back for me.
just on that, I actually thought against Viborg, actually Ben Johnson's attacking play and his delivery was better than Soufal's has been this season as well, which is obviously a criticism and a reason not to play Johnson. Soufal definitely needs to up that. I've got to tell you now, Geo, if Ogbonna had done one more European game, I'd have him in. I really would. It's only the fact that he's had such a long period out. It'd be a Thursday game, then a weekend game that I wouldn't do it. If this league game was next Thursday, for instance, I would play Ogbonna and I'd play him instead of Zuma at the moment. However, much I'd like to play that, he has just come back off a long injury. He's not going to recover in a couple of days. He's going to need to be dunked in the ice bath or whatever they do, sprayed with nitrogen or whatever they do. Probably not that. So he's going to need some sort of period of convalescence. I'm going to have to go Zuma and Keira because I just don't think there's any other options there, mate.
I completely agree. Also, we've got Tottenham on Wednesday, which means Ogbonna time on Wednesday night. I think I completely agree. I was inclined to put Ogbonna in for this one. I do think that Villa attack can be quite mobile as well. And while Ogbonna has impressed, I do think there's elements where there's been examples where he has looked a little bit rusty. You can tell he's had 9 months off. And Viborg's one thing, but a Premier League attack, regardless of who you're playing, a Premier League attack is a completely different one. And I know I'm saying, well, let's put him in for Tottenham against Harry Kane, but at least then he's had a 6-day rest for it. So I would go Keira and Zuma as well.
I also think that Ogbonna coached Keira through the game. I thought Ogbonna was the leader. I thought Ogbonna said, like, I'm the guy, I'm the main guy. Like, you help me and this is what you'll do. Whereas I don't feel that's the case with Zuma. I thought Keira was worried about Zuma and almost Keira wasn't sure who was the senior centre-back, if you know what I mean. So I quite like, everyone knew their job roles with Ogbonna there, which is another reason. You're going to want to know left-back now, aren't you?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting from here on in, because I think left-back, centre midfield, attacking midfield, striker, we've now got options here. So
Okay.
I know you're trying to pick
Bailey is going to play Bailey on that side, aren't they?
It depends. They tend to they can line up quite narrow. Aston Villa. They can play with like a centre midfielder, a defence midfielder, 2 centre midfielders, and an attacking midfielder. So width can often come from Matty Cash and Lucas Dean, from Aston Villa. So it's difficult to predict what Gerrard's going to do because it's a bit like the Moyes thing. You're under pressure. Do something different. And I do wonder Gerrard is perhaps going to do something different against us on Sunday, which might see a bit more of a 4-2-3-1 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because actually Cresswell was one of the 3 players to do okay against Brighton. So, but that being said, if we can't have him up against Bailey at left back, you can't do. If he wasn't playing up against anyone quick, I'd play Cresswell. Anyone else, I'd actually probably start Emerson. He needs to, not be so cautious on this one, Moyes.
So who would you start, sorry?
It's hard to know because I don't know who they're going to play, but I guess neither does Moyes. I'll probably start with Emerson.
I would go Cresswell. I know this is becoming an unpopular opinion, but I like Cresswell. I think he's done fine the first 3 games of the season. I don't feel like I've had an issue with him, whereas I have with Soufal. I have with the centre-backs. I have with centre midfield. But I feel Cresswell's been done fine this season. So bearing in mind there's a lot of changes happening to the starting 11, I think to have as much familiar as possible could be quite important, and I think Cresswell at left back is one of them. So I would go Cresswell, but I appreciate that the majority watching this right now will be agreeing with Gonzo and putting in Emerson. But we've always said we'll do honest opinions. My honest opinion is I don't have a problem with that Cresswell. I think he's having a decent enough season. I expect Emerson to take his place eventually, but for me, for this one, I'd stick with Cresswell. Now, moving into midfield, I guess this depends on the shape you want to see as much as your personnel, because, again, the makeup of the midfield was not good enough against Brighton. And if Gerrard sticks to what he usually does, you might see the midfield quite packed out, actually, in regards to Aston Villa.
Yeah. Obviously, Rice has got to start. I'd try and switch things up a little bit in there. I think I think it's folly to suggest that Souček won't be involved. So let's assume he is.
Do you want him involved?
I do, actually. I do. Because I can't criticise Moyes Viborg. 6-1 overall on aggregate through to the group stage. But we've missed the opportunity by letting Flynn Downs have any sustained period of play over the 2 legs. I know he injured his pinky at one point, but he's not been able to put a performance in to put pressure on Souček. I've not seen enough Flynn Downs say yes, that's the guy to take his place there. So actually, what I would do is I would play Souček, but under different instructions. I don't want to see Souček stood next to our right fullback or our right winger, who's probably going to be Jared Bowen. I think that's really important. I understand the goal came from that area, but against Viborg, where he put the cross in. Look, if we're relying on Thomas Souček to put the crosses in, there's just something that can be tweaked within that formation. I'm quite sure he keeps vacating the space in the middle, and if Aston Villa are going to pack out that middle, we need as many bodies in the centre as possible. I understand he's going to vacate the area to go up and get on the end of crosses and to try and score a goal. So he's already leaving a space on those occasions. I don't need him dropping wide and leaving that big space there. I might even be under instruction to the pair of them to dovetail, because I want to see Declan attacking a little bit more in this game as well. I understand he's been protecting the back four and the defence is shaky. I understand that. So when he does, you have to make sure that Souček's there to cover him. When he goes, I want him a little bit more involved there. So definitely those two in the middle.
I want to see a change of formation. I want to see a 4-3-3 in this one. And my personnel is the same, which is Rice, Souček and Fornals. I'd like to see Fornals as a centre midfielder rather than whatever other 100 other positions he's played this season. And number 10, an attacking midfielder, left winger, left wing back, whatever, centre midfield, proper 4-3-3. Now, I would like to see Rice continue his defensive midfield role, just because that would allow Souček to push up. And I'd almost like to see Souček further advance than Fornals in this game. When we come to do average positions or whatever, Monday morning, I'd like to see Souček almost looking like a second striker at times and getting in that box. And if we are going to be supplying crosses, let's make sure he is in the box to do that, because we don't have any alternatives at the minute. There is the Flynn Downs thing, but I'm a bit like you. I'm not seeing any evidence to suggest that he can do it. Connor Coventry played well last Thursday, but didn't play this Thursday. Again, I'm not seeing enough. So what else are we supposed to do apart from putting Flynn Downs in from the start against Aston Villa? And he could potentially be up against Philip Coutinho. It could be Coutinho in the attacking midfield role for Villa. That's a big ask to go from marking a Blackburn number 10 to marking Coutinho, who's a wonderful footballer. It's a huge jump up. So, yeah, that would be my three: Rice, Souček, and Fornals. I'm going to jump ahead to striker, actually, and then we'll come back to the attacking midfielders, because I've got a feeling I know what your answer is, and because of your answer, I think that might mean a player being available for the attacking midfield role. But who would you like to see start as a striker? Or strikers? Maybe you want to see both.
No, I don't. And this is a really, really tough one. I really do think it is. I'm not sure who starts this game. Starts against Tottenham. I'll start with Antonio for this one. Yeah, I would. And we've just done our player ratings. I'm very pleased with Scamacca. Very, very pleased.
I think if you did a poll, I think it'd be 50-50 among West Ham fans. Maybe a bit more inclined to Scamacca, but I do think there'd be a lot of calls for Antonio as well.
And I could be persuaded either way. It's not, set in stone. I'm still undecided whether it's better Scamacca coming off the bench or Antonio off the bench. In fact, it might be better Antonio off the bench. But I think I want to see Antonio's reaction with the squad's rotation and the fitness, and I suspect he might be very effective actually against the Aston Villa team. So yeah, I would go with Antonio striker.
I'm a bit like yourself. I can be persuaded either way. It's Scamacca for me. I think got 2 goals in 2 games now. Last night against Viborg, got an assist and was involved in the other goal as well, heavily involved in it. And for this one, I just think if we get 5 chances, who do I want them to fall to? A Scamacca.
Yeah.
We get 1 chance for a striker. Who do I want to fall to? Scamacca. I want him. I've got more faith in him scoring than Michail Antonio, and I fancy Antonio up against Tottenham defence more than I do against a Villa one. I do agree that I think I'm not Tyrone Mings' biggest fan, and he might be partnering. Well, we'll have to wait and see who he's partnering. It'll be Konsa or Callum Chambers. I would fancy Antonio against that defence, but I also fancy Scamacca against that defence as well. So I would go with the new man for this one. I think it'd also be interesting to see what Antonio's reaction would be, because I think Antonio would assume he's going to start on Sunday, and that's why he didn't start last night. But could you imagine if actually you're not starting on Sunday either? Then reaction time from Antonio against Tottenham. So Scamacca for me. That leaves me with 2 players and you with 3. Now, I've got a feeling you've got my 2 players, but who is your third one? Give me all 3.
Well, I've just changed my mind.
No?
I've just changed my mind. If Emerson plays, I'll play Antonio left wing. Okay? Because I don't feel that... I don't want Antonio playing left wing if Cresswell's left back. Because I think there's a heavier burden on the left winger there. So I've changed my team. So Emerson's playing left back. Antonio's left wing. Attacking midfield is Benrahma. Up front is Scamacca, and on the right is Bowen.
I get that.
Good team. It's a good team. I like it.
I've gone with Bowen and Benrahma, but the reason I've gone with Bowen's lucky. I mean, I don't think he's that arsed if he's in Geo's desired 11.
It makes his week. It's the pinnacle, mate. It's the pinnacle.
But he's somebody that's on the brink of being dropped, really. If he puts in another performance like we've seen from him so far this season, he doesn't start against Tottenham. But I do feel that he's got that much credit in bank, and I didn't see enough from Maxwell Cornet. I've seen enough from Scamacca say, I start. I've seen enough from Ben Johnson say, I start. But I didn't quite see enough from Cornet. Didn't have a bad game, just... I had my grievances with his performance. I don't think it was as composed or polished as I would have liked to in order to dislodge Jared Bowen. But I want to see these 2 narrow with Scamacca. What we saw against Viborg was Cornet and Benrahma as close to Scamacca as possible, and it worked. Whereas against Brighton, for that half hour Scamacca was on the pitch, we were 15 yards away from him at all times, and it was a disaster. We can't afford that. So I want to see Jared Bowen. Now, while on paper he might be a right winger, I don't want him playing right wing. I want him playing second striker almost, right alongside Scamacca. We got to try something different. We need goals on Sunday. 1 goal won't be enough for West Ham on Sunday.
I think that's actually the name of a programme, Gio.
What's that?
Goals on Sunday.
Well, if it's not, it should be. It's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, we should do it. It'd be a new video for us.
But that's what I want to see on Sunday, because I don't think 1's enough. Scoring 1 will not be enough to get 3 points on Sunday, I don't think. We're going to need at least 2. So I think we need to make sure we've got enough players on the pitch for creativity and for scoring goals, because against Brighton, we were lacking the creative side of it. Forest, we came close to scoring, but there's a stat that came out on who scored during the week that said West Ham are the only team yet to create a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity. And I've seen a lot of people pulling who scored up, basically saying they're making stuff up, they're jumping on a bandwagon saying, but what about this, this, and this? But every example provided was not a clear-cut opportunity we created. The clues and the wording. Sure. People said, oh, Benrahma hit the bar and hit the line. Yeah, but it was a 25-yard free kick. You call that a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity? Behave. Yeah. The penalty, again, we didn't create that. It's a penalty. A clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity created is when player A passes to player B. Like when Benrahma gave it to Cornet against Viborg. That's a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity. Haaland's second goal and Trossard's goal against West Ham. Clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. There's the ball, you're in on goal. That is what they are. We haven't done one of them yet. Give me an example. You can't. We haven't done one. Yes, we've come close to scoring. But it's a 25-yard shot from Fornals, a free kick from Benrahma, a stupid handball by McKenna, the Thomas Souček header against Brighton. That's not a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity. It's just a good header and a good save. So we need creativity, and I think this team is the best way for that. Anything you want to talk about the game before we do the competent part?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it all pretty much. It is a big game, mate. It really is. It's you win in Europe if we can get the signing over the line, where we hope, and we can win against Villa. I think the whole mood of the club changes. And I think when I say the club, I don't just mean the fans. The fans are bloody important, by the way, for our mood to lift. But I mean the backroom staff and the players, everybody. You know, it gives the whole club a little spring in their step, actually, and probably even makes the recruitment in the last few days of the transfer window a little bit easier. You look, okay, West Ham, they've got off, they started winning, they look good, they're into the knockout. They're into the group stages in Europe. They're bringing players in. It's just a better vibe about the place.
Yeah, massive game for both teams, but Aston Villa is the perfect team for us to play. I know you could say West Ham is the perfect team for Aston Villa as well, but this isn't Brighton. Brighton walked up at our place, confident, playing well, a manager with a game plan, players that know what the game plan is. Where we play Aston Villa, not confident, not in form. The manager doesn't have much of a game plan. The players don't know what they're doing to some extent as well. Unhappy fan base, and we take an early lead on this one, and Villa Park will not be the best place for Aston Villa to be playing football Sunday afternoon. We must win this game because, like you said, in regards to transfer window, I think trying to sell the concept of West Ham to a player bottom of the league, 4 games and no points is pretty difficult. Getting up to the Tottenham game would be even more difficult. It's not going to be a happy place. This game is huge for us on Sunday. I don't think we can underestimate how big this game is. I'm not going to sit here and say if we lose, Moyes must go, we're going to get relegated. But this is a must-win on Sunday afternoon. It's not a draw or a must-not-lose game. It's a must-win. We need 3 points. Yeah. Villa will be better than this later on in the season. This is a good time to be playing them. We have to take advantage of that. We've got players in form going into this one. As a team, we might not be in form, but Scamacca's got 2 goals and 2 starts. Ben Rama's in form.
Yeah.
We've got a world-class player in Declan Rice, not in great form himself, but he's still got the ability. There's a lot of positives. It's just a case of can we put them all together to get the result at Villa Park on Sunday. Are you confident?
Yeah, I am. I think Declan's going to have a very good game, actually, by the way. I think I'm just confident that he is. Also, just on what you said about a good time to play play Villa and all the rest of it. There's a lot of people saying, Villa will be thinking it's a good time to play West Ham. I bet they don't. When you're not doing particularly well as a club and Villa aren't, they'll be looking at West Ham thinking, oh God, this is a bad time to play West Ham because West Ham are going to be motivated. West Ham, they'll be saying it would just be typical Villa to lose against a team who can't win a game this season. That's what we're saying. That's what you're like as a fan. Even if you come up against you say it's the West Ham way. We're playing against that striker. He hasn't scored in 20 games. I guarantee he's going to score against West Ham. You get a bit of
yeah, but it doesn't mean it's not a good time to play West Ham. That's an opinion. That's a fear. That doesn't mean it's not a good time to be playing West Ham.
No, it is. But what I'm saying is, I don't think there's going to be massive confidence going through Aston Villa because Aston Villa won't be thinking this is 3 points in the bag here. I think they'll be worried that West Ham are a wounded animal. We've got to show that. And we've got to demonstrate that we are there, and we've got to bounce back. And Declan Rice will be a massive part of that. And I think we'll have a big game from him as well. But I'm quite confident, actually.
I'm quite confident too, actually, because of Aston Villa, not because of West Ham. But the reality is we do have a £35 million striker scoring goals. We've got to use him. I think getting a goal scorer is the hardest thing to do. We've got somebody. Antonio's a goal scorer. I know he's not been in great goal scoring form, but I'm hoping this season we'll see him back in the goals and he'll hit double figures comfortably in the Premier League, hopefully. But I am confident purely because of who we are playing. If I could pick any team to play this Sunday, it would be Villa or Bournemouth, in all honesty. It'd be one of them two. I'd rather play Aston Villa than Fulham this weekend. I would. In all honesty, I genuinely would. And we can't win this game. And Moyes can't out-tactic Steven Gerrard. Sure. He's got a massive problem. He does. Yeah. He's got a huge problem. I can accept him getting outwitted by Pep Guardiola. I think Steve Cooper's a great manager. I think Potter's a great manager. Steven Gerrard is not a great manager yet. He may become one, but today he is not. He's still relatively inexperienced. He looks like he's out his depth at Aston Villa. Yeah. I expect a manager with Moyes' experience to outwit him. And if he doesn't, we've got a problem. But I'm confident that he will. Any final words in your score prediction, please?
just got to get the job done, mate. They've just got to get the job done. And Moyes has got to get his selection right. I think that's the biggest thing. Got to get his selection right. Also, he can't go in too negative on this one. That being said, I don't feel we have tried to start games negatively. It's we've got to score when we're attacking. Scoring early is massive for us. We score early here, Gio. We score early, then we'd be looking at a comfortable win. I would imagine sort of 3-1.
A big game. I need to see big decisions from David Moyes in terms of formation, tactics, team selection. We can't do the same as we did against Brighton. We cannot have the same team sheet as we did against Brighton. My worry would be it actually works because we're playing Aston Villa and we continue to use it going forward, and it doesn't work in the future games either. So I want to see something. It doesn't have to be drastically different from David Moyes. I'm not saying rip up everything and start again, but there's got to be some alterations. There's got to be some tweaks, personnel, and the way we set up. We cannot set up with a 4-2-3-1 with Rice and Souček in midfield. We'll get overrun. Souček will then get exposed again for his limitations, and we'll be back to square one, and we'll be grumpy on Sunday. I'll be fuming on Sunday if we lose this game. I will be angry on Sunday. Big game for the manager, big game for the players, and a big game for our season as well, to put us into that Tottenham game with a little bit of confidence behind us. So I'm going to say Aston Villa 1, West Ham United 2. Anyway, we're going to disappear before my voice disappears. But if you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it. Sky new around here. Sunday afternoon, we'll be live at 12:55, an hour and 5 minutes before kickoff. We'll be live for our build-up show. So come back then. You're going to the game, enjoy it. If not, get back to Hammers Chat YouTube channel. We'll see you on Sunday afternoon.